this than that part.
There we go. Are we recording yet? There we go. All right. Yay, everybody. So welcome to Threads of Wisdom. This is week... What week is this? 9?
Yeah.
God,
Yep.
it doesn't seem like it.
Yep, we've been doing it a couple months now.
I feel like we've only been doing it just for a couple weeks.
Well, 9 of them. It's on camera.
I'm sorry, let me get this set up because I have a very distracting, sarcastic husband next to me. I guess it doesn't want to do the...
Just do it with that one and see if it does. Okay, we'll split them.
It doesn't want to today.
Just pull it down.
Okay. I don't know why. Sometimes computers make me mad. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I didn't even do that. That was weird. All right. So welcome to Threads of Wisdom, and we are the Children of the Crossroads in Spokane, Washington. I am the High Priestess of Children of the Crossroads. Here's my High Priest, Silenus.
Hello.
We also have in the chat with us our scribe from our coven, Zeta.
Hello.
So we welcome you to our discussion series. Let me tell you, those who are not familiar with it, Threads of Wisdom was created. See, it's not.
It's not moving right. I see that.
There we go. Threads of Wisdom was created by the Golden Thread Grove in Idaho. It is a teaching tool for your year-in-a-day pagan basics. Each week that you attend, you will receive an image of the topic that we discussed. And Golden Thread Grove has requested that these images not be distributed to anyone who has not participated in a discussion on the particular topic. And at the end of the year, you will have 52 cards, and that you can use as a divination tool, which is actually what I do. I had one of the teachers from the Wiccan Seminary, Trish Parker, right? Or Shepherd. Is she Parker
Trish.
or Trish?
Just Trish. If you go to the school, you'll know what we're
Trish.
talking about.
Parker. I do believe.
She made these for me, laminated them. So it's really cool. We call it the Pokemon deck. You can get all 52. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. I'll put the image up. And I always, technology. Technology is our friend. There we go. Can you, ladies and gentlemen, see that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna zoom in. So I start out by us. Oops, I do this every time, I think. There we go. All right. So when you see this card, let me know what kind of feelings it emotes. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you think it means? And there are no wrong answers. This is everyone can speak up whenever they want, or you can type in chat if you don't want to be on voice. Also, you don't even have to say anything if you don't want to. So, anyone have anything to say about this card? Bueller? Anyone?
I think that it's got a lot of good foundational ideas there written on each of the corners.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that I would say almost feels irrelevant is to keep silent, because I understand that that's part of the history, but I don't feel like that's so much the current environment.
Interesting. Anyone else?
That's interesting because for me, I see that as, well, at least for me personally, the hardest of them. Because, we all have opinions, and I'm definitely one that was willing to express mine. And so, one thing I have to work on is to remember to keep silent because I once heard it said, we were given 2 ears and one mouth.
I think, well, it depends on how you look at it, because it could be, because on my handy dandy little pyramid that I have here, we made in my old coven, it's got it set up a little different. Instead of to keep silent, we have secrecy. So that kind of is a little different than to me. It is the secrets of the craft, the secrets of the mysteries, because we are an initiatory religion. There's certain things that are revealed to you as you quote unquote level up. It's not to be elitist or anything, but it's just because you have to experience it for yourself, and that's part of the initiation, especially into the mysteries of the craft. So the secrecy part, in that sense, makes sense to me. To keep silent the way they have it, I would have read it the way you and Ariel are, like, and that's a good skill to have, though. Sometimes you got to shut up and listen.
You learn more when you listen.
Yeah.
I have found
that too. I'm a talker. Anyone else have anything what they get from this before we go into the?
I always figured the keep silent was just so that you weren't inviting negativity from other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. And then they have the fifth one on the top, to go, which I've never seen that before. I've only seen just the 4.
Well, I've seen the 5th, and I was reading about it, and it's to do, essentially. But they have it as to go.
But wouldn't to will be?
No. Do you have the will to do it? Are you willing to dare to do it? Do you know how to do it? Are you keeping silent in what you're doing? But
and do it. Are you
actually going to go do it?
Practicing it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were saying that is the most recent addition to it.
That's why I haven't seen it.
It was classically 4, and more recently it has been accepted as some people working with 5.
Yeah.
And to do to actually manifest and make it happen.
Has anyone ever done a correspondence of this to like the 5 elements?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That was actually going to be my next information, because on my little pyramid I have here, water is the secrecy, and again, you'll see different ones for these, but this is how I learned it. Fire is will, air is imagination, and earth is faith. So on here, I know I would add spirit, and spirit is to go. To keep silent, I believe, is water. To know would be...
That'd be air.
Air.
To will
would be fire. Is fire, and to dare
would be water.
Well, what's earth?
Or...
See what I mean? It's how they have it set up here. To dare. I know, Zeta, you want to help us out? You always have good insight on that. Fire is to will.
To know would be air.
Air would be to know.
Yeah, air would be to know.
Keep silent secrets of the water. So I guess to dare would have to be earth.
Yeah, that's, I guess. Yeah. Interesting.
I think you would find some people that would disagree on those different correspondences, but I think there actually is supposed to be a correspondence. I can't remember, though.
Yeah, the way I learned it, there is the correspondence, but there's always they change it up. You'll see different versions, but so what leads me to believe, I'm going to stop sharing now. What leads me to believe is that may not be the most important part of it. It's to understand the concept of what the Witch's Pyramid is. So that's my next question. Anyone here know what the Witch's Pyramid is? And if you do, can you please explain it to me? No, just kidding. I always forget about the witch's pyramid. I don't talk about it a lot because
We know it's there, but we don't.
I've never really. I did a little talk on it one time, and I just read out of basically a thing I got from my old coven. I just kind of read straight out of it and did a discussion with our coven one time, and I remember reading it going, whoa, like, that's a lot of explanation. Oh, they have it here to dare. Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
But anyone know what the witch's pyramid is?
From what I was reading about it prior to this, it's the foundation of magical practice. For you to be able to do magic, you have to have all 4 of those or 5 of those in action. You have to be willing to dare it. You have to will it. You have to know it, because you can't cast a spell unless you know what the spell is. You have to put the energy into it to will it forth.
Mm-hmm.
You have to dare to be willing to do it, to understand that, it may or may not succeed, but be willing to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to keep quiet about it in case something goes wrong and you get in trouble.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Anyone else? They're very quiet today.
I was looking at stuff on the. It's based on Hermetic practices.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've read about it. It's just something that's like, okay, these structure things, and then I promptly like file that in the. I know that.
Yeah.
And
We don't actively think of it.
We don't really think about it when we're working magic. I think because it just kind of, we're already kind of doing it, and we're not saying, so now everybody, this is what we're doing here. But that would be good to work on that. Yeah.
Especially with people learning the craft, because, it's kind of just assumed that you know these things, and without actively talking about it, a lot of people, I guess, wouldn't think of some of these.
Excuse me.
See, we learn things from this too.
We know stuff from this stuff. Alan, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Alan, is your last name Little?
Yes.
Do you know a Lindsay Little?
No.
Okay. That would have been crazy. Sorry, I just don't know that last name for a lot of people. So.
Well, there's a lot of people in America.
Oh. Where are you from, Alan?
I'm in Michigan. But
okay, that makes sense. Never mind. I'm so used to people local here, so.
Right, the little family line, though, is like out of Georgia and Arkansas, going back to Scotland.
Mm.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
With a little we know.
Yeah. We know a family of Littles here. That sounds funny. All right, so it says here in our notes, so to explain, to know, Silas kind of went over it, but to know is what did we come up with?
To know would be, I guess it would have to be faith.
Earth.
On this one, Earth.
Yeah.
I shared a link in chat that I found interesting.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So to know, what we're thinking is it's Earth. It says study and be teachable, be sure and confident, but not closed-minded. What we were just talking about. So it's okay to know, but don't be a know-it-all. There we go. We just had someone else join us.
I think Ariel went off camera.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
I was looking at the link.
Got it. So be sure and confident, but not closed-minded. Dogmatic. Don't be closed-minded, dogmatic, stubborn, or a know-it-all. Quench more than your curiosity. That is important, like we were just talking about with the school. There's people that attend that school, and just not even the school, just practicing with different people who have 20 plus years of studying the craft, and then there's people that have only a couple years, and they could be equally learning from each other. Because we've brought this up quite a bit. We don't want ego to get in the way. You have to be open-minded. Empty your cup.
And it's interesting because people ask questions that you never would have thought of, and you're like, well, hold on. How do I answer this? Because I've never thought of this in this way.
Yeah. Why do you think that's important in what we do in magic and just our studies? Why do you think this foundation of what they're explaining, to know something, quench your thirst, be an expert on it, but don't be a know-it-all. Don't be like, my way's the only way, which that happens quite a bit in our craft, and it's very upsetting to me.
I think that kind of reminds me of the spiral that they talk about, where you learn one thing, but you come back around after you have more knowledge and it has a different meaning or a different conception.
Yes.
So that's what that reminded me of when you were talking about it.
Absolutely, because we're on a different part of the spiral, rather than, when the year goes by. Like even the wheel of the year, we should call it the spiral of the year, because I'm not in the same place that I was last Ostara or last year at this time. I don't, and none of us are. I mean, think it's what has happened.
Thank God.
Think of the world, how it's changed. We're all completely different. So it's important to keep that in mind. I'm not going to be, or you're not going to be the same person, even in a minute, even if it's a minuscule of a change, even if it's just a tiny shift, it happens, right?
You should hope that you're not the same. You should hope that you've grown and learned new things and experienced new experiences, however small they could may be. It does change you to some degree, bit by bit. And if you refuse to accept that change, you're going to get stuck.
Yeah, we don't want to be stuck. Evolution is important. Anyone have anything to add to that? Zeta or Alan? No pressure. You don't have to. Just, I don't want to miss out on anyone's opportunity to talk.
I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. Okay. So then we move on to will, which is fire, the element of fire. What do you think that means? I'm not going to read the notes. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm gonna throw it to you guys and not get more talking, because this is not the Lola show. As much as I would like it to be, it's not. It's a little bit, but it's not. So what about to will? What do you think that is in our craft and in our magic?
Kind of like the fuel that feeds the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Without will, you don't have a spell. You don't have a goal. You don't have a direction.
Yeah.
So, you have to know where you're going to get there, I guess. I don't know.
No, that's great. That is a great answer. Yeah. Anyone else want to take a shot at what to will would be in this format of the pyramid, and why that's important? How was that utilized?
To borrow a Star Trek quote, which is weird for me because I'm not a big Trekkie, but use Picard, make it so.
Make it so. Make it so mode it to be. We combined that.
Yes.
Perfect example though, because that's literally what will is about. It's just like, it's just so
Yes.
so big.
Yep.
I drew
That whole abracadabra thing, which is I create as I speak or something like that. It's what the translation is as yeah.
So here we have be clear, set intent, use thoughts, words, and deeds that are consistent with and supportive of your intent. Hold your focus. Don't second guess yourself. That's a hard one. I don't know if anyone else. Ariel, not me.
Nope.
Every day in some way, shape, or form.
I do. I second guess myself all the time. I know Zeta does. I don't mean to speak on your behalf, but Zeta, I know you do, because you
I think
say
everyone does.
Yeah. We just second guess ourselves, and,
And-
and there's no reason to.
It's because we've all been beaten down in some way, shape, or form in life or society that, we question it. Well, should I really be doing this? Is this what I really should think?
And again, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was
You can
saying.
interrupt me. It's fine.
Oh, I wish the camera wasn't on.
I do this to her all the time, so it's kind of nice for her to interrupt me for once.
But I caught myself. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I lost my
And then he forgot what he was gonna say. And again, this goes back to we second guess ourselves because the craft and what we do is such a personal thing. There's really no, like, when you go to a job and you have your job description and it's all written out there, so you know exactly A, B, C, D, what you're supposed to do to be succeeding in a job. The craft doesn't really have that because there's so many different interpretations. So that I feel that's why we second guess ourselves, because we're like, am I doing this right? Like, even me teaching these classes and running a coven, it doesn't mean that I'm like, I've reached the highest level and I'm done and that's my reward. No, I'm always.
There's not really a checklist or a metrics system that you can use. Like, oh, he did this. She
Yeah,
did this.
I did this.
Oh, she needs to work on this one. Okay.
I
and then,
mean,
we can't
yeah.
really go down because every person is different and what their strengths are and what they need to work on is different. So you can't formulate a catch-all for everyone.
It's spirituality too, and it's such a personal thing that everyone's going to do it differently. Yes, there are some set guidelines.
Mm-hmm. But they're
Um,
guidelines. They're not.
but they're not set in stone.
No, they're not rules.
They're not rules.
They're like I said. They're not a point by point
Yeah.
bulletin board of this is what you need to do step by step.
So second guessing ourselves is a big one. It says, endure without yielding to defeat. Let not the words or actions of the unenlightened give you unease.
Hmm.
I like that. So have that confidence. Know that you can do it. Anyone else want to add to will?
I just generally think of will as desire and perseverance. I mean, you have to really want something, and then you have to have the perseverance to pursue it and stay with it, no matter how bad things are getting. If that's what you really want.
Absolutely. And it's hard sometimes though to persevere because again, we are our biggest critics. Something we'll listen to others, like it says, let not the words or actions of the unenlightened give you unease. We do that a lot, not just in our craft, but just in everything, how we live. It's the comparison is the thief of joy thing that me and Zeta bring up a lot. It's right. It's just God, it sucks to do that.
It's keeping up with the Joneses in a sense, or competition, or even someone questioning you because they don't understand.
Yeah. I know when I feel, I'm pretty outgoing and I feel pretty confident about a lot of things, but when I'm in a situation where I'm the new person in the crowd, or like rehearsals for the Spring Mysteries, this is my first time being on the cast for it, so it's and there's people that have been doing this over and over and over. So here comes me, Miss Confidence, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just be quiet. All of a sudden this energy, like, this large, becomes,
Well, it's
okay.
funny because both Lola and myself are big personalities, but when we get in groups where we don't know people, we wallflower, and it's really interesting until we get comfortable, and then we're like, nope, look at us.
Yeah. So it's the same with our craft. We tend to feel like, oh, I'm doing a great job. And then something happens, or you watch a video of someone who's an expert in what you thought you were doing. And I do it a lot in my tarot cards and my tarot readings. I've been doing it for so long. And then there's sometimes someone will come along and completely look at cards in a different way. And I feel like,
Oh, shit, am I doing wrong?
have I been doing it wrong this whole? And then I question everything I ever thought I knew about tarot, which is something I'm pretty confident in. So to me, to will is that confidence, is have the confidence in yourself, know that you're doing it, that you're good at what you do, and it'll keep you motivated, and you'll have the willpower to keep going. Anyone else want to add to that before we move on to the next one? All right. Why does it smell like soy sauce?
I don't know.
What are you drinking?
Beer?
Does your beer smell like soy sauce?
It's raspberry chocolate.
It's your beer. It smells like soy sauce.
Really?
Smell it.
It kind of does smell like
Oh
soy
my
sauce.
gosh.
It doesn't taste like soy sauce.
No, I hope not. That is, doesn't
Whoa.
it?
It does.
Oh my god, that's
It's-
weird.
It's a raspberry porter, so it should not smell like
It
soy sauce.
smells
That's
like-
what it does.
I just got the biggest whiff of soy sauce. I'm like,
Oh.
are we having Chinese tonight? Anyway,
Maybe.
to dare. So to dare, we're thinking it's earth. On mine, I have faith, but I think it's kind of the same thing. What do you think to dare would be in this pyramid? What does that mean? Why is that important?
Go ahead, Alan. We'll see you getting ready to talk. Please do.
Please, yes, we're tired of our voices.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I just vented the atmosphere. What can you ever accomplish without daring? I mean, that's like trying to win the lotto without buying a ticket.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful way of putting that, actually.
That's brilliant. Absolutely. You got to take that chance.
Yeah.
Take a chance on yourself. Take a chance on your magic. You know, you need that. Zeta, you have anything to add to that?
I like that on your pyramid, it's got faith, because that's sort of the daring to believe in something when there's so much out there that's trying to say you're crazy if you believe in X, Y, or Z. But you just kind of have to go with, well, it feels right for me. So,
Yes.
and when it comes to magic, like, you have to dare to do whatever the thing is, whether that is doing your first ritual that might be honoring a deity, or just affirming your faith in Wicca, or whatever thing. Because there's a lot of newbie witches that are like, I don't know enough, I can't do a ritual.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, you can, just do it, but it's dangerous and I'm not ready. Well, I mean, like, you need to be confident enough, but at some point you have to take the first step. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't take the first step.
Yep.
Well, for me, I like to succeed in everything I do, and this is a reminder that it's okay to fail,
Mm-hmm.
and that failure is growth. And that's, it's harder for some of us who aren't as humble as we should be.
Are you saying you're not humble?
I'm saying I'm a Gemini. Humble isn't a word that we do well with.
Yeah, that's true. So here I have the courage to look at yourself, your motives, your obstacles. Be willing to change, heal, and laugh at yourself. Be willing to accept risk and disfavor. Be willing to be wrong and make mistakes. So that's again, it's you gotta fall and pick yourself back up, but you're never gonna be able to pick yourself back up if you don't take that risk of falling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way you're gonna learn. Again, these are all coming back to like confidence and our self-confidence, and having that faith within ourselves that we know what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
to dare to do it. All right. And then we're at the water side, is to keep silent, or here I have secrecy. So we kind of talked about that when we were looking at the picture. We started talking about that. What do you feel that means in this setting? I think it's kind of what I was saying, is don't the secrets of the craft. sometimes you don't want to be out there talking all about it until someone can experience it for themselves. The notes here are a little different. Says don't disperse the energy by talking about your spells. Don't use the craft to bring attention to yourself.
Ego.
There's the ego.
Those are the ones I was going to mention because I was just trying to allow others to put in stuff too. But that's the biggest thing that I've seen on the to keep silent is not to basically muddy up your work by either going out there and bragging about it, because then it's sort of like the money in the craft and how it will mess things up a little bit. If you're constantly like, I did a love spell and blah, 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 and now this is going to happen and it's going to be great, then you're going to get a bunch of people going, sure, that's really going to happen.
Yeah.
And taking the air out of the wind out of your sails.
A lot of people, we like to brag about our magic and about the magical things that we can create because we're not going to lie, it's awesome and it's cool to be able to manipulate energy or work a spell and have it come to fruition for you. And you want to tell people like, oh my gosh, this worked. But I do know people that are in constant brag mode. And they just talk about, well, I did this spell last night, and guess what happened? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's right. I summoned, a giant. Or I told that fairy to get this for me. Or, and it's just constant. That's all I ever hear from them is what they can do. And it's like, and I'm not saying you never did it, but after a while, if that's all you're going to do, people are going to tune you out because I want to hear about personal experiences too. Where did you not succeed? How did you learn to do these great spells? Is there a book you can recommend? I mean, share the knowledge rather than just say, I can do all this and well, it takes a master, blah, 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 and again, that's ego. It's, that damn ego of ours. Don't brag or threaten. Listen, observe, analyze, learn. Don't teach until you get the go-ahead from your teacher. Now, see, some people don't have teachers. And we were talking about this at the beginning, where
this is for someone's year and a day.
Yeah, and
to prep for a coven.
Well, what I was going to say is there is a lot of different school of thoughts on permission from your teacher. There's a lot of solitary practitioners out there, and they're their own teacher. Mm-hmm. So you just got to know, again, have the confidence. This is my opinion. Anyone watching the recording of this might say, well, I was taught I can't do anything until my high priestess tells me I can, or my high priest does, or whatever. And that's fine. And, but we go off of, I could sit here and tell someone, I don't think you're ready, but I'm never going to know if they're not ready until I see them, what they are doing and bringing to the circle. So I might probably do it a little differently than maybe other people. I know there are covens out there and different traditions where they're very strict about that. Like you have to have permission to go before you can do spell work. Well,
maybe certain types of spells.
I think, or maybe certain types of people.
Yeah.
But I've never really encountered anyone that I was like, no, that has never come across my immediate, you know what I'm trying to say, right? You get it, Zeta. You know what I'm saying.
Please.
Save me because I'm babbling right now.
No, I know. Yeah, you know that I do. I was going to say that it's kind of difficult in that particular wording because there are circumstances where I could see your high priest or high priestess actually setting you about teaching someone so that you will learn through teaching.
Yes.
So you don't have to be an expert to be a teacher either. And I think that's what makes it difficult. Because
I don't like
even
the
if
wording.
even if you're not wanting to teach, there's nothing saying you can't organize a study group and learn together.
Yes.
And those roles become more fluid. So
yeah, and welcome, Daniel.
Point of contention that we've discovered.
Yeah, it depends on your setting. It really does. I know that, we were talking about the seminary, the school that Alan just registered for. Obviously, there's certain boundaries and things that you need to, they're your teachers, and to get a certain particular type of grade, there may be certain expectations or certain permissions.
Well,
I understand that. That's school. That's, in your circle, there's a lot of people that I came from a very laid back circle training. And Daniel was one of my former coven brothers in the previous coven. Wouldn't you say it was kind of laid back, Daniel? Can you hear us?
He's muted.
You're muted if you're talking.
Or he's not talking.
Or he's just not talking, or he can't hear us.
It shows him in the chat, but I don't see the little bubble with his initials, so he may not officially be here.
Yeah, I see him in his yeah. I think that's him. Yeah. Isn't that him? Yep, that's him. So again, different schools of thought. In my personal practice, I feel that there's no checklist. Some have a checklist. Mm-hmm. I don't. There's certain ways that we do things, but I'm always looking for what the proof is in the pudding. Like how do you interact with others? How do you interact doing spell work? How is the cohesiveness of us working magic together? To me, that's going to tell me more than just how many books have you read on this? And can you tell me what's a good spell for money, bringing money? You need to get this exactly right. It's personal. Mm-hmm. Some people use spells for money and use green candles. Oh my God, I forgot mint. Mint is a well-known one. I am not an herb person. So manifesting money, I may not use herbs, but I might use crystals and candles, anyone asking me, what herbs do you use? I'm not the herb person, but I will refer you to someone who does herb magic all the time, and they're great. So, anyways, there's, Alan, do you have anything to add to that?
I was going to say to keep silent. I think you have an external and an internal aspect to that, in that you don't go around bragging about the work that you've done. That way you don't have someone else's, negativity chipping away at your confidence in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And on the internal side, you got to think about once you've set forces in motion, you want to let it go and forget about it. You don't want to dwell on it and eat away at the work that you've done.
Absolutely. That's a really good observation. And I feel it puts a different kind of energy out there. That's a little. There's different energies you get from people who are really trying to teach and guide, compared to an energy that someone is like, I can do this and I can do that, and look at me. It's like that energy is like, I'm not.
They're wanting to.
Oh, yeah.
Are they really a teacher, or are they a peacock?
Yeah. And we've all done it. I brag about things that I do really, really well. And sometimes, you can't argue about music with me. I'm a music snob or connoisseur or freak. And sometimes I close my mind if someone is saying, well, they actually did this with this band. And I'm like, you're wrong, because I didn't know that. And if I didn't know it, it's wrong. And then I Google it and they're right. And I'm like, oh. So, there's things that we all think we know a lot about, and we do. There's nothing wrong with being an expert in something. It's still keep the keep your cup empty so they can fill up new information.
Being an expert doesn't mean you know all the things all the
Exactly.
time. It just means that you have a vast amount of knowledge in that particular topic, but it
Yes.
doesn't mean you know everything.
You have more than the normal person in that category, but it doesn't mean you, like you said, you know everything in it.
And I think it's impossible to know everything. It's just impossible. We like to think we know everything. I'm married to a Gemini that is he's pretty confident that he knows everything. Don't know what I'm thinking right now.
I'm thinking he's going to say something stupid.
See, he's psychic. He's so good at that. So that's to keep silent.
I'm practicing it right now.
It says don't bring dishonor to the craft through your words. Thank you for finishing that for me. Speak your own truths without vanity or pretense. So let's go to the fifth one that they have, which again, this is new for me. Oh, it's not super new, but I mean it's the spirit, which is to go. The notes I have here, this talent is not for yourself only, but to use in the world to heal and bring peace. Find your great work. Bloom where you've planted. Dive in and don't wait for someone else to fix things. We must be the change we want to see in the world. So just, like, go out and do it, you know. This brings me, this may be a little off topic on here, but this has been coming to my mind. So I feel I need to say something. What do you think about money, charging money for our craft? Is that a way of bragging? Is that a way of dishonoring the craft? There is a in the Wiccan laws, there is a section about it.
There are multiple, actually.
About don't present yourself, and the word they use is like a charlatan.
Yeah.
So, you know, the what do they call it? The snake oil.
Yeah, don't be a snake oil
salesman about it. Do you guys have it? So, and I'm thinking about this when we're talking about honor your craft, don't disrespect it, don't blab the secrets so much. But when you're doing your craft and charging money for tarot readings, healings, crystal work, whatever it is, mediumship, psychic stuff, what do you guys think about that?
Are you doing it for the right reason is how I look at it. If you're doing it to better your church and your congregation, or the craft as an overall, acceptable. If you're doing it because you're doing it for your ego, or you're doing it to enhance yourself in your social aspects or your social media aspects, then I would have issues with it.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
That's a tough one, because there's this thing that you know, when most people don't think of money as spiritual, even though technically you could argue that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not, you know, it's ethical to charge money, I think in part depends on what you're delivering and what that person is requesting. Because if it wasn't of something of value to them, they wouldn't give you money for it.
That's true.
So.
Well, and we talk about an energy exchange. You know, there needs to be some sort of, you know, if I'm doing a tarot reading for someone, I'm spending my personal energy on the reading, and so there needs to be an exchange to keep it in balance. But that doesn't always have to be money. I know when I did tarot readings for people, if they couldn't pay, I would just say, oh, well, buy me a cup of coffee, or
there's a reciprocity concept.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's important, because it will make people take you a little more seriously, that you do know what you're doing, and there is a price that you're willing to ask for. I have a hard time still to ask for money for doing readings for people. That's why I'm a good tarot reader, but I'm not a good business minded which.
I got knowledge. Pay me for it.
It's really that, and that stems from a very strange relationship that I have with money, and I'm not going to go into that because that's not what this is about. But that's where that stems from. I have an insecurity about asking for money for doing things for people.
I think a lot of people do.
Some people don't, though, or they've just taught that
they've gotten past that hurdle.
Maybe they've gotten past that hurdle. Yeah.
Because I imagine for a lot of people starting out asking for it because you're questioning yourself, am I worthy of being paid for this service? And it's learning that you are worthy for what you're doing, and that that it is fair to be compensated for the effort you put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember talking to somebody from the Humane Society a long time ago, and they said they used to actually let people adopt the animals for free, but eventually they found out that people value something more if they have to pay for it.
That's true.
That's true. So, and I was taught different ways about charging for tarot, that because I always charged really cheap for it, and one of my teachers would say, your skill is worth so much more. If you charge more, people are going to say she must know what she's doing because she's charging $80 for a reading compared to only $15 for a reading.
But you have to, it's a concept of free market. You have to make worth their payment. If you don't live up to that expectation of whatever payment you are charging, then are you devaluing the craft? That's where that concept comes in. Where, if you've only been, doing readings for, say, 6 months, and you're charging the same as someone who's been doing it for 20 years, there's not going to be the same skill level.
Unless they're really, some people are just natural at it. Again, you can't put $1.
No, you can't. And I think that's the issue is one issue is you're trying to put something sort of capitalist lens on something where the majority of people want nothing to do with capitalism.
Yes.
It's the society, it's what we live in, it's how we trade our stuff. So if you're willing to do barter and stuff, that's great. But money is a tangible element. It's literally an element that's with Earth, has money and stability and wealth and all that. But it is ultimately, it comes down to a skill. You're selling the skill. And you could look at it as any other skill set that is done in the same kind of, you may be getting what you pay for, or you could be getting a good value. We could look at 2 different doctors or 2 different lawyers that have a different pay grade, and it doesn't imply 100% that one lawyer is better than the other. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that one tarot reader is inherently better than the other if they choose to charge less.
Well, I also learned when I charged not a whole lot, and this wasn't in my eyes, this was in other people who knew me, like, you could charge more than what you charge. What I found out is I would charge $15, $20 for a reading, and then they loved it so much they gave me a huge ass tip, which ended up equaling to almost like $80. So,
what?
So I was like, oh,
for that quote unquote level of reading.
And may have only gotten a $5 tip. So that happened to me a lot. And I'm not bragging. Well, I'm bragging a little, but I found it kind of, it worked itself out. And they were so appreciative that I wasn't like, I can't do I would I'd let them buy me a coffee the first couple times. But then I did have to set boundaries because I did have one who just expected not to pay and just would always buy me coffee. And I'm like, this was after like a few times of this. And I actually had to, when I had an appointment with this person, I said, I'm going to have to charge you. And they were totally cool with it. Like, so again, it's building up that trust, building up that, so it can pay off in other ways. And it started to, for me, before the pandemic hit. So I was starting to get a little more confident about asking for the money, because I was developing a good relationship with my clients and trust. And they knew that she's going to do a good job. And, oh my gosh, I'm like $10 short, but I know that, you know what I mean? I know that she'll see me because this and this and this or whatever. And so, it depends on what you're doing, what you're offering, the energy, your reputation, because people will talk and say, this person's really good at this, definitely worth the money. And then, but you've got people that can really like no, they weren't good at it. Fortunately, I never had a bad review, but at the same time, I didn't have a huge list of clients. I had kind of like 5 same clients over and over. So the reviews were always good because
They kept coming back.
They kept coming back. So I was like, okay, So yeah, I kind of off topic.
Hi, Lola.
Hi, Forrest.
Look, they got toys.
Okay, cool.
Yay.
You got a new
It's a
toy, huh?
pizza.
Pizza. Yeah, I see
Oh,
it.
it's a pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, Forrest is our honorary toddler that attends Threads of Wisdom.
Oh, look, there's a monster too.
It's a monster too. So it's a monster pizza?
Wow.
No,
No.
it's a monster.
Forrest, you're so cute.
Yep,
Yep.
I see it.
Oh, there it is. That's awesome, Forrest. So, yeah, I kind of went off topic, but not really, because every time we were going over these concepts, the pyramid, I kept thinking about money for the craft, because we're talking about don't dishonor the craft. And charging money for the craft kept coming up, and it's not anywhere in these notes. Hey, Daniel, it's not anywhere in these notes. But
I don't know how the heck you turned that on.
did he turn it on?
Yeah.
And you knew it was Lola too, which was even better.
Hi, Lola.
Heather was like, he's talking to Lola. I go, he can't because it's muted.
No,
Oh no, he was talking to us.
he was talking.
Good.
He made a special appearance. It was awesome.
He got bit by the dog.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you saw.
No, I didn't. Where? I can't see him.
You see his top of his head, that's
Oh,
it.
that's just the top of his head.
Come here first. Sit on Daniel's lap so I can see you.
Oh,
Oh,
Howie.
no. Oh.
Poor little guy.
Yeah, he got 14 stitches.
Oh.
Spent the night in the ER freaking out because his cheek was laid open.
Oh. When did this happen?
Tuesday night.
Oh, geez.
Oh my gosh. Well, Daniel, we're gonna finish because we're gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. So, anyway, but I wanted to bring that up because it kept talking about don't dishonor the craft, don't be bragging about it, don't, and I kept thinking money for the craft, and so I felt I should bring that up. That was a good conversation, you guys. Thank you for rolling with me on my rabbit hole I went down. Okay, so this is how we are going to end the conversation. All right, so let's say you go to a tarot reader, and you're like, Madam, Zola, I want you to do a 1-card pick, and whatever card you pick is me right now. It's what I need to do or whatever. And she picked this card, the Witch's Pyramid. What do you think on a divination level, what would that mean for you right now today? Alan, go ahead. I saw your microphone come on. If that was you trying to say something.
No, that was me with the that's a good one.
Some of these make you think.
Right.
For me, when I look at it, it's kind of make sure all your houses are in order before you do what you're going to do. Make sure that you've considered all the different aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. was gonna say I might ask, are you you trying to manifest something at this point and lead them through the basic structure of that and how what they're working towards. These are the things that you have to make sure are in place to do that.
Getting back to basics. Our coven's been talking about back to basics quite a bit. How about you, Zeta or Daniel?
I think it just it kind of reminds me of the old school, like because the witch's pyramid is to keep silent.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have mine somewhere. I don't know where mine disappeared to. But it just reminds me that maybe I think there's a fine line between letting people know that you're a witch and letting people know all your business as a witch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a really good way of putting that.
I like that.
I would think of it more of a, you know what you are, but part of your pyramid is to keep silent.
Yep.
So maybe it's trying to tell you, or it would be telling me to kind of tone down sharing covenant stuff or stuff that people that won't understand.
Mm-hmm.
To maybe tone it down and not be so open and share specifics. I mean, yeah, it's fine. Everyone knows you're a witch, but maybe it's just saying you're exposing us too much as a witch.
Don't be bragging too much about it. Don't be advertising it too much. Some people are out, right? Out of the broom closet completely to everyone. We're out to most everybody, but there's still a few situations that we keep, like, unless they see something on us.
A respectful silence.
A respectful silence. Unless they see something like, unless I'm wearing a pentagram and someone asks, or even a triple moon, or, to be a little more stealth. And then those people that look at it and see the triple moons are like, oh, they know.
They give you the nod.
They give you the nod, or they're blessed be, or say, the code talk.
I think Phil kind of hit the nail on the head. By being out like that, so boisterous, sometimes you may offend someone, and that keeps you from having that respectful silence around, like, say, an uber Christian or a Pentecostal Christian or something, where they be severely disturbed or offended being around a pagan. So maybe say you got to watch your surroundings and be a little more respectful to those around you.
That's true. And like I said, there's some people that are very comfortable with that, and they have no problem with in whatever setting they're in that, yep, I'm a witch, this is me, blah, blah, blah. And then there's other people that are like, I'm not, there's a safety issue also. Yeah. Zeta, you were saying something?
Wasn't the to keep silent on the water side?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's a very intuitive element with that. And that's why I thought that was fitting, because the to keep silent, you have to kind of judge the surroundings you're in on how much you say. Because like I shared in the Coven chat when I picked up the keys, and when we checked out, the guy there was like, so what are you guys going to use the keys for? And I had to have the moment of, I can easily just say crafting.
Yeah.
Because that covers everything. But I was like, this is pretty okay. So I actually gave him a little bit of information, and it ended really well. He was like, oh, okay, we'll have fun witching it up. But you have to kind of judge a little bit intuitively, and maybe you give a little bit of information, but not too much. And if it goes poorly, you step it back a little bit. Oh, no, I was just talking about how beautiful the moon was last night. I mean, I just enjoy astrology. Astronomy, I mean.
That's up to dare. You dipped your toe it didn't work out, but you've learned how to handle this better, and then maybe the next time the situation comes up.
Well, I do it with a lot of people ask about this tattoo, the Coven tattoo, the Children of the Crossroads, Triple Moon, and they're like, "What is that?" And then I've said everything from, because there's like the coffee girls, they know about me, and because I just got a feeling that they were okay with that, and I'm like, "It's the Coven I'm in," and they're like, "That's so cool," and so they all know I'm a witch. Other people, I might say, "Oh, I just love the moon, and I cannot figure out what to say the T is for. I hope they don't notice the T, because then I have no idea what I'm going to say that is."
As far as they're looking at it, the way they look at it, it's L for Lola.
I know, from this way it looks like L for Lola. I could easily say that. How about you, Alan? Anything you want to add?
I was really liking the money discussion there, because I think a lot of us, our opinions on money are poisoned by Christianity. Not meaning to disparage it, but
No,
I know a lot of Christians even that act like money is the root of all evil, when their love of money is the root of all evil.
yes.
So,
Well,
It's greed, not need.
right.
We need money, but how much money do we really need?
well, and there's also a concept, and there's a whole topic that Mary Malinsky actually does on this. She's the archpriestess of ATC Canada. She's also a teacher at the Wiccan Seminary. So, Alan, you might come across her name. But I believe she has a class or a workshop or something that she's very passionate about money in the craft, and about the stereotype of the poor pagan, and how that is that kind of is damaging to us.
Yep.
Like, and
it diminishes us.
It diminishes us, and makes us afraid to be pagans with money, and yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've grown up in a society now that anyone in a movie who's rich got it by evil deeds, and they're not a good person, and when you see there's a lot of philanthropists out there that if they didn't have money they couldn't help people.
Exactly.
And we tend not to think of money as a spiritual tool, but when you look at all of the aspects of it, it technically is a spiritual tool, because it's not something an animal could do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something an animal could use, which kind of by definition elevates it to a spiritual level.
That's true. That's very true.
In our current world, money is the greatest motivator. And, it takes money to run things and to make things happen. As much as we don't want to admit it, you do have to have financial backings to make a change.
Right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite YouTube witches puts it in kind of a good perspective. She has a workshop and classes I haven't taken, but she has it available. But it goes with, you can't really have, I know there is this, some people have taken vows of poverty or whatever, but you can't really have a true spiritual existence if you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You're stuck on a survival thing. I know that there are plenty of homeless people who are still spiritual, and I'm not saying it cuts you off, but it certainly makes it a lot easier if you don't have to worry about your basic needs being met.
Yeah.
Because then you can go and focus on other things, and you can focus on arts, and you can focus on whatever other things. But if you're worried about how you're going to eat, how you're going to stay warm, how you're going to, not freeze to death in the night, you're worried about your basic core level needs, which is very root chakra not moving up in that system.
Well, it's our, and I think that's why we talk about the element of earth being so important, because it is about grounding, but it's about our material things. And I remember in the previous coven that me and Daniel were in, I remember our high priest would say, you don't, you have to have your material realm, your physical realm, in order. You just have to. It doesn't mean you have to live in a big mansion,
Right.
but you have to have that in order to be able to practice
With stability.
the stability.
It's the concept of stability. A house tips over if it doesn't have a foundation.
Yeah.
A church collapses if it doesn't have money to support itself.
Yeah.
There are things
Which
that
is
have to happen.
definitely for me, this card, if it came up as divination, that's what it means to me, is your foundational elements, your basic stuff. That's time to revisit those and make sure your foundation is in order.
Yep.
Because otherwise you're not going to be making progress.
So the whole money talk that I went off on actually worked in with this. I'm going to add that in the notes for next year when we do this, because I think that's important to bring up.
Well, is it a pyramid like in Egypt, or is it a house of cards? Is it real?
Yeah. Well, speaking
So-
of money, oh, go ahead, Daniel. Can you?
Sorry.
No,
I
that's right.
personally have a very negative experience being up here around the OAO temple. Heather and I were involved with Raven Digitalis and his high priestess. And they actually were charging people $350 a year just to teach them the craft. And
Woo!
that is about as wrong as you can get. I think donating money to the coven is just supporting your high priest and priestess, but you shouldn't be charging people just to teach them the craft and to allow them to be a part of the holidays and rituals.
Oh, so they wouldn't let you in the coven. Well, we'll talk about this later. I don't want to. We're recording, so I don't want to talk. Negative about anyone.
It was just something that I came across. Speaking of money and covens,
Yeah,
there is a
Good
fine
note.
line that I think
I know.
is very easy to cross. So.
Well, now you're going to find this humorous. So if we have helped facilitate a spiritual experience for you today, please consider donating to Children of the Crossroads, ATC, to help fund events like this. Your gifts of any amount are greatly appreciated, and donations may be tax deductible, as Children of the Crossroads, ATC is a 501c3 nonprofit. You can make your donations to our PayPal link or our Venmo, which I am putting in the chat right now. Again, donations, not charging. So if you don't donate, it's not a big deal.
It doesn't dilute your experience.
Yeah, it's just, if you can, that's awesome.
It's appreciated.
Yeah, but I think that segue was hilarious. Yeah. And again, I'm even uncomfortable asking for donations. So I'm like,
But you know what? This is part of that learning experience for all of us. This
It
is
is.
something that Lola can grow into
Being
becoming more comfortable
comfortable.
with, and that's why your cup is never full.
I have to learn to be okay to ask for donations, because it's not bad
It's
to
not
ask.
comfortable for her.
It's not comfortable. So in the chat, I have the graphic. So you guys, please let me know if you can download it right now, because I do remove it after we end this recording. If you are unable to download your image, let me know. Put your email in our chat, and I will email it to you. All right.
I got mine.
You got yours? Alan, did you get yours?
I was able to copy it.
Oh, good. And Zeta?
Yep, I got mine, but I may email you for last week's because for whatever reason that one didn't save.
Okay,
worries.
no problem. All right, you guys and ladies, thank you so much. We'll see you next week, where we do our topic will be the goddess. Yay!
Want to say bye, Lola?
Bye, Mama.
Bye, Forrest. Bye, Daniel. Bye, Zeta. And
Bye.
thank you, Alan, for attending. I hope you come back next week. It's the same chat and the same time.
That's great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was nice meeting you all.
It was nice meeting you too. All right, you guys have a great night. Bye-bye.